It has been a long time coming. Sage is getting a nerf in the next big patch for Valorant, which is live right now, patch 0.50. This patch shows again that Riot is listening to fan feedback and are willing to change a lot of stuff. It is a very big patch, and in this video I'm going over all the big points of this patch and explain the impact that it will have on certain aspects of the game. There is a lot of good stuff in there, so let's unpack these patch notes. If you liked the video or learned something from it, a like and a sub would be greatly appreciated. Let's take a look at patch 0.50. First off, I want to commend Riot Games on their patch note style. Next to the announcements, they throw in a couple of little jokes in there that make sometimes a boring list a lot more fun to read. Starting with the most important part that affects everyone and will make shooting your weapon feel a lot better. Riot says the following: all rifles have been updated to make single tap and burst fire more efficient. The idea here is to support the viability of all rifle shooting types, tap, burst, spray, when used in optimal situations. This is tied to gun recovery time, which we'll touch on more in the notes below. This means that if you tap fire or shoot in short bursts, the next time you tap or burst again, the spray pattern won't start off from the last place where you stopped shooting, but will recover more quickly to the starting position. This means that you can tap or burst in quicker successions without your spray going all over the place while firing in that manner. I guess we all have been in situations where we try to tap or burst a bit too quickly and seeing our bullets fly high over our targets, and this fix should help reduce that from happening. This is a huge buff for players that have good aim while tapping, so good luck play against those guys. I know I am definitely not one of those. Another big change is the ability cost of a ton of agents, which nerfs them quite a bit, especially Sage and Cypher, but I will go more into that when we get to the agents. Next to that, the maximum amount of coins you can have will get limited to 9,000 instead of 12,000. The spike won't be able to get placed on locations players can't reach, and some maps got changed as well on certain points. To go more in depth on the shooting mechanics, Riot talks about the walking accuracy that has been talked about a lot. Players have been reporting that they get headshotted by the enemy while they seem to be moving, which should not be the case. As you are moving, your accuracy should be all over the place, causing players to get mad when this happens. For this, Riot changed the dead zone accuracy threshold from 25 to 30%, which means that you can't gain a walk accuracy while transitioning from a run to a stop. To counter that, they made it a bit easier to fire a shot as soon as you are fully stopped. Furthermore, they are reducing the walking accuracy on all rifles, because walk spraying was more effective than they liked. Let's dive into the agents now. As I said, Sage is getting nerfed, but she will still be useful for your team. In this patch, Riot decided to decrease the slow orb duration from 9 to 7 seconds, and the slow amount will be decreased from 65 to only 50%. It's kind of funny what they state here as well. Riot says we all know Sage is OP, but they still want her to be a time stealer. These changes won't affect her effectiveness as a healer or resurrecting a teammate, which are the main reasons that Sage is so effective each game, and she will still be useful in every single team, but she has definitely got a hit from the banhammer, since next to these changes, Raze's barrier orb has increased in price from 300 to 400 credits. This hurts Sage in the first couple rounds, where at first players could buy a ghost together with the ball to make plays in the pistol rounds, but for now, Sage can't buy both of them. Choices will have to be made in those rounds, since the wall is extremely useful, but again, Sage's strength will shine with her heal and her abilities are still very useful, so keep playing her. After Sage, I want to highlight the changes made to Cypher. Riot decided that Cypher his abilities took a bit too much after Sage's playbook and decided to remove the slow of the cyber cages. This means that enemies can more freely walk through them, while the cages still obscure vision. Next to that, Cypher's spy cam when destroyed will take 45 seconds to return, which means that players have to be more careful when placing it. Players have been reckless with their cameras, and Riot decided it's time to end this camera cruelty. This will add another tactical layer while playing Cypher, having to place the camera in more safe positions or deal with the fact that you can't give intel for some time. In the current patch, players were just putting the camera everywhere to scout, and Riot thinks that should be toned down a bit. There's also good news for Omen players. His smoke ability duration has been increased by 3 seconds, now lasting 15 seconds in total, and the projectile speed has been increased as well, meaning that the smokes will land quicker than before. To combat the buff a little, the cooldown has been increased by 5 seconds, which should balance out the time that the smokes can be active. Riot felt that Brimstone was the main smoke provider and feels that there should be other agents that can do the same. Hence why we see Omen getting a small buff. I already mentioned Sage's wall costing more in the shop, but there are other items getting increased in cost as well. Next to Sage's wall, Razor Blast Spec will increase to 200 credits, which means that she needs to spend 400 to get them both. Brimstone's Molotov will also increase in price to 300 credits. This hurts him a bit, but not too much I assume. Jett's updraft has finally been reduced from 200 to 100 credits. I always felt that this price was a bit steep when playing as Jett. I never felt like it was worth to buy the ability in the first couple rounds, because it would set me back so much for what I got for it. The most impactful price increase will be for Phoenix. I recently made a video explaining why I believe that Phoenix is the best agent when playing alone, but this price increase ruins this a bit. Phoenix's curveball will now cost 200 credits, which means that he has to spend 400 to get both of them. If Phoenix wants to buy both of his flashes each round, he will have to spend 400 credits. Having both of them is nice, but in the first couple rounds you might want to only buy one to save your economy a bit. Very curious to see how this plays out. It will definitely add a new layer to Phoenix, and this is definitely a big nerf to him. The patch notes also explain that the credit cap has been decreased from 12,000 to only 9,000, since players were saving so much money and could provide for the squad for days, and Riot wanted to tone that down a bit. Split has been a map that players have spoken about a lot. I personally disliked the map at the start, but recently I've been finding the map getting more fun by the day. Riot decided to change some stuff for the attacking side to make it easier to attack certain points. The barrier locations, which are the big blue walls you see before the round starts, have been shifted around a bit so that the defending side can't be too far forward, while the attackers start in a better position. Next to that, the wall at B Heaven now has an angle, so you can't hide there that effectively, and the box on B is now made out of metal, which means you can't shoot through it. Furthermore, there are mentions of some bug fixes, bunny hopping over damaging abilities like Molotovs, agent armor being refundable to the old broken one, and a ton of changes to the UI. These are all things you can see for yourself rather quickly while booting up the game, so I won't bother you with that. I put a link to the patch notes in the description if you want to read up on them. If you liked the video or learned something from it, a like and a sub would be greatly appreciated. For now, I want to thank you for watching and hope to see you in the next one. Peace.